Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for race number 19 of Season 4 of the NCAA Duracell Cup Series here at the flat mile-and-a-half track known as New Hampshire Motor Speedway. If you didn't tune in earlier today to non-charter qualifying, we're going to be in for a pretty interesting race here today, I do believe. More than likely, we're going to be seeing some long green flag racing, and on top of that, I think we're going to see pit road be a deciding factor in the outcome of today's race. Going from one low-banked mile track to another, last week at Chicago Motor Speedway, we saw N Ormond pick up his first win of the season, trying to see if that would lock himself up a spot in the playoffs, but things have started getting a little bit interesting in that regard as well, because we almost know for certain that we're probably going to have at least 16, if not more, different winners during the course of this year, which means that drivers that have a win this season more than likely will miss out on the playoffs. But starting back there at the rear of the field is Chris Dollerton, who transferred in, finishing second in the non-charter qualifying session earlier on today. So he is making season start number 9 in a chartered main event. Next week, we know for absolute certain that non-charter and charter drivers will all be making a start, so that would put Chris Dollerton's total up to 10, and with his win as a non-charter driver back at Manassas, he is now guaranteed one of those 16 positions. So it's going to make things really interesting for drivers now to make sure they position themselves high enough in points if they've got a win to make sure they're going to get one of those remaining 15 positions. One driver that would love to do that is Zach Rogers. He's actually been on a good streak as of late. Been a real slow start to the season for this driver out of Bulldog Motorsports, but he has pulled himself up by the bootstraps and now finds himself 30th in the point standings, gained 4 spots in the points last week after a top 5 run at Chicagoland, or at Chicago, I should say, and he starts on the pole for this one. We saw starting track position was very important in the non-charter race. We'll see if that'll be the case here today. Alongside of him is going to be Carson Gum. Now, Carson Gum's one of those drivers that's up there in points, 8th in the standings. If he were able to win here today, more than likely, he would be throwing his name into the ring for one of those remaining 15 playoff positions. He's right now the 3rd highest driver in the points without a victory. Jesse Turner is a 2-time winner this season, so we know for absolute certain he's going to make his way into the playoffs, provided he stays up in the top 30 in the point standings. He finds himself 9th in points right now, but he's trying to see if he can become the season's first 3-time winner, as himself, Adam Garcia, Mitchell Collins, and Cole Deaver and T Wright have all gone to victory lane a total of 2 times this season. And we saw Dylan Schwallen be able to hold off for the final 6th transfer position in the non-charter race earlier on today. You wonder what kind of information he passed on to his teammate and team owner Cole Baker, who's going to be rolling off on the outside of row number 2. Baker comes into this race currently 23rd in points, so a win could put him into a playoff position, and he's one of a few drivers that we have that are up here in the Northeast and may consider New Hampshire as one of their home tracks. Time to go down trackside, though, get those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines.
Take a look down in the description below for your official full starting lineup. Didn't take an opportunity here prior to us getting ready to roll at New Hampshire to see about former winners, but 2 drivers that I know for absolute certain are former winners here at this mile track are Levi McIntyre. It's where he picked up his first career win. If I recall correctly, that was back in Season 2, and the defending winner of this race I know as well. That is Austin LaPlante, who last year picked up the victory here at his home track. I don't remember if we ran New Hampshire back in Season 1, and if we did, I don't recall who it was that went to victory lane. If we get the opportunity, I'll look back and see if I can find out that information, but for the time being, we'll just let well enough alone. Last week, Dodge picked up its 2nd win of the season with N Ormond. Ryan Brommer had a win earlier on this year at Phoenix. And now his Bulldog Motorsports teammate Zach Rogers trying to see if he can be the 3rd challenger to pick up a win here in Season 4 of the Duracell Cup Series. Zach Rogers, a Massachusetts native, so this could be considered a home track for him as well. Green flag in the air. Let's roll at New Hampshire. Jesse Turner got onto the back bumper of Zach Rogers, almost pushing him into turn 1. Now he backs off. Cole Baker's going to swing around him and take the 3rd position. Still, though, the front row side by side going into turn 3. Which lane's going to prevail? It's the inside with Rogers or the outside with Gum. That time, they kind of flip-flopped the race lead a couple of times through 3 and 4. Off the final corner, Carson Gum edges ahead. I think that outside line's going to be the preferred line. K Mathews back there, into the wall. Jessica Shelton's on pit road. Is the caution going to fly? I believe it is. Whoa, and they're still wrecking. Dylan Schwallenberg off the nose of Levi McIntyre, and he's going to go up and hit the outside wall. K Mathews, couldn't tell who he got hooked off the nose of, but he's got left side damage on his Hooters Chevrolet. Jessica Shelton on pit road for what looks like an unscheduled issue. She's now coming off of pit lane, but I think she's going to get trapped a lap down as Carson Gum comes around and takes the caution finally. Race leaders were past the start-finish line when that caution was thrown, so they had to race back to pick up the pace car. And that kind of shuffled everybody else back up here as well, because at the time of that yellow, about half the field had crossed the start-finish line. The other half was taking the caution. So things kind of split up there. K Mathews with that damage. And then Dylan Schwallenberg getting sent up into the wall after the caution had been taken. And he's got some right side damage getting up into the outside retaining wall with his Advanced Auto Parts Toyota Camry. Don't think we'll see anybody on pit road, at least for our race leaders here. So let's go back, see what happened, bring out the first caution of the day here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And I wondered if maybe the wreck with K Mathews could have been in reaction to what happened to Jessica Shelton, but obviously that was not the case. Shelton got her car way down the inside, and everybody was able to avoid just a kind of a 3-wide situation coming off of turn 4. Nobody giving anybody any room. And K Mathews, I thought he might be able to snap that car back to the right and save it, but not quite able to. Gets that right or that left side damage. We'll see if he'll be able to continue on. Obviously losing some very valuable track position as well. There you see the smoke from Dylan Schwallenberg's adventure up in turn 1. We'll look at that one now. One thing I want to look at here is I want to see with the timing of the caution coming out. And yep, the caution comes out. Dylan Schwallenberg and Levi McIntyre, they were back behind the start-finish line. So I was wondering if they were racing back to the start-finish line. But nope, they had already taken the caution, technically. You see 3 wide up ahead of them there with Thibodeaux and Sandfer getting together. It's hard to tell what happens exactly there. I don't know if Levi starts getting on the brakes to start slowing down, but that car just jumps to the right. Then gets up into Dylan Schwallenberg, who almost had the thing saved, but gonna brush the David Shieldhouse pictures up there on the wall of turns 1 and 2. I think that's all it was, really. That was a brush. I don't think he really got that much damage. I think that could be considered a save. Nice job there by Dylan Schwallenberg to avoid near disasters. Look at that up there on the bottom of your screen. That was 5 wide coming off of turn 2. Look at that. Parker, Dollarton, was that Sandfer, Johnny Gardner, and I can't tell who the other car is in that mayhem. Well, it's Thibodeaux. They're 5 wide coming out of turn 2. Please don't do that under race conditions, guys, because there's no way you're going to make it. Caution out for the first time today. Let's go back for the green flag. Wait on the pace car to see if we'll get the 1 green signal this time. We should. And indeed we do. Carson Gum's going to get us back underway. Zach Rogers second. Cole Baker third. Patrick Smith right now in fourth. And Jesse Turner completes top 5. Vince Almariego in fifth. Sixth is going to be Ryan Acosta. Jack Mitchell in 8th. Ninth place will be Austin LaPlante, former winner here, defending winner here. And then Ryan Butcher will line up in the 10th position. Of course, for Vince Almariego, not exactly the day he was looking for last week at Chicago Motor Speedway, finishing dead last after getting involved in a wreck between himself, J Qualls, Matt Haas, and others, which did not bring out a caution. And Almariego mired down 26th in points. He didn't gain or lose any spots in the standings, but certainly hoping that his mile program here today turns out a little bit better. Same for the 8 of Matt Haas. Jessica Shelton with that unscheduled pit stop did not come off pit road ahead of the race leader, so she is 1 lap down. She'll try and see if she can get that lap back here. Maybe get ahead of Carson Gum and catch a quick caution. As Carson Gum gets ready to get us back underway, I believe Shelton's the only car 1 lap down. All 42 cars are still running. 41 of them on the lead lap as Carson Gum brings them down. It's the first restart of the weekend here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and Carson Gum going to take the early advantage there. Clears Jessica Shelton going into the first corner. Shelton now kind of holding up the 6 of Zach Rogers. I believe Shelton is up to speed. Uncertain exactly what the unscheduled pit stop was for the 0-2 there. As Patrick Smith's going to lose a couple of spots. Cole Baker going to get around him. Now Jesse Turner trying to put the pressure on him. Now Baker looking to the inside of Zach Rogers for what would be second place. Some slicing and dicing further back behind them. I saw Benny Watson take a look to the inside of Ryan Butcher, and in turn Dylan Young's going to look to the inside of Benny Watson. That's 10th, 11th, and 12th right there. As now Dylan Young looks to driver's right, and here comes two-time winner Trey Wright. Oh, Trey! Not the entry he wanted in the corner. Way up the racetrack goes the Boy Scouts of America Ford. And he's going to lose a ton of positions because of that. He loses one to J Millz, one to Cody Lamas, and now under fire from William Brock in the 88. Further up, battle for 9th. Ryan Butcher to the inside of Austin LaPlante. You know, even if you're not in the non-charter qualifying session, it's actually good to watch that race because you learn a lot about what to expect from the charter event. And one thing that we learned from the charter event earlier on today, with it being a 31-lap race, was that that outside line is the line that is going to get you the position every single time. You can make a move to the inside, but it's so difficult to rotate that speed through the center of the corner, get back to the throttle soon enough to translate that into straightaway speed. You can get alongside of a car through the center of the corner. By the time you get off of turns 2 or 4, though, that outside line car has you cleared about halfway down the back straightaway. Another car that is slow, that's Kyle Mathews coming back off of pit lane. Looks like they did not take the opportunity to really repair that left side damage he got from getting to the inside wall off of turn 4 earlier on. And even coming down pit road there, it doesn't look like they really repaired it all that much. So, tough break there for Kyle Mathews as he has him wadded up behind him now. Jack Mitchell is going to swing around the outside. Austin LaPlante trying to get to the inside. And look at them all stack up behind him now. J Millz had to dart to the inside. Dylan Young had to dart to the inside. Benny Watson right now getting held up in that outside line. They got to move that 09 out of the way. He is obviously slower. Oh, man, that's an accordion effect. And, oh, Benny Watson's having enough. He's had enough. Didn't want that 09 holding him up anymore and nearly hooked him off of 3 and 4. More contact between the two. Oh, boy, some tempers could be flaring here between those two drivers. Watson is finally going to get around Kyle Mathews. They were wadded 3 wide behind him with Mitchell Collins, J Millz, and William Brock. Collins was kind of the loser on that end, and things are really spread out now amongst the top 10. Got about 6 cars up here in the lead group, including the lap machine as well of Jessica Shelton. Then there's a gap back to Ryan Acosta, and another gap back to Mitchell and LaPlante, and then another gap back to Ryan Butcher. And all that is with drivers in the second half of the top 10 having some difficulty getting around the slower machine of Kyle Mathews. Let's drop back there and see if they've still got some issues with that Hooters Chevrolet in their way, and yeah, that is still the case. Cody Lamas now going to try and make his way around. James Qualls shifts from high to low to get to the inside. And now Kyle Mathews, way up the track there on entry, loses even more momentum. They're going to take him 3 wide. Keith Batson in the 39. J Millz in the 98. Michael Norman back there, darting out of line, trying to pin J Millz behind the 09. Trying to use him as a pick. LaPlante to the inside of Jack Mitchell. This is for 8th. Austin LaPlante, the defending winner of this race, was a 2-time winner last season. Winning, I guess you could technically say, back-to-back races, as he was not only the winner at New Hampshire, but he followed it up the next week, winning the second race. There were 2 heat races in the Chili Bowl, and he won the second one. Still looking for his first win on the season this year, though, as LaPlante 28th in the standings. And is the inside line actually going to work to make a pass? It looks like it is. And the only thing that I can maybe attribute to that is the conditions earlier on today were a lot hotter and a lot slicker. The sun was out, beating down the track, not allowing for quite as much grip. Since then, we've ended up having some cloud cover, which has cooled the track surface down, so maybe there is a little bit more grip to be found on the inside line currently than there was to be found earlier on today. As Jesse Turner testing that out. Wow, Patrick Smith really having an issue there on entry, and Turner, will he clear? He will. Well, that throws a monkey wrench into everything from what we saw in the non-charter race earlier on today. There's actually an inside line with some grip, giving drivers the ability to make passes. Almost kind of looks like an exact opposite of what we saw earlier on today, where the inside line was the more unsteady, the one that was the slower line. Outside line looked the most stable and had the most speed, but I've seen a couple of drivers now heading into the entrance of turns 3 and 4, or 3 and 1 rather, which look like they've got a pretty good line, and next thing we know, it's like the car snaps on them or something, like they're trying to gather it up after nearly looping it around. The battle's going to be back on again between Patrick Smith and Jesse Turner. Turner took that 4th position. Smith wants it back, not going to be able to do it, and now Zach Rogers going to the inside of Jessica Shelton. This is not for position. Rogers is trying to see if he can get around the lap machine so he can then get up there and battle Carson Gum for the race lead. Didn't complete the pass that time there on Shelton. I think he'll still be to the left rear quarter panel going into 3 and 4. Ooh, had to check up a ton though. And that's going to lose him possibly 2nd place. No, he's coming to pit road. Jesse Turner is in as well. Another thing for those of you that tuned into the non-charter race, you're thinking, well, they made it 31 laps in that race, didn't have to come to pit road. Why are they pitting now? Well, in the charter race, they get a lower fuel load. About 75% fuel load. And so they are going to have to make a couple of pit stops in this race. Told you pit road is going to play a factor into the outcome. Levi McIntyre was on pit road. Or make that Zach Rogers, rather, was on pit road. And here comes some more. Austin LaPlante is in. Patrick Smith, Jack Mitchell, Benny Watson, race leader Carson Gum, Cole Baker, Vince Almariego, all to the attention of their crews. That turns the race lead over now to 2-time winner and Daytona 500 winner this season, T Wright. So now we're going to have to figure out which strategy is the correct strategy. Coming to pit road sooner, staying out the longest. We'll also get an idea of how far these drivers can stretch it. I think that they're going to have to pit twice in this race. As T Wright now, you heard him downshifting to first gear to get onto pit road. Llamas is in as well. Looks like maybe... I thought maybe the 10 had stayed out to lead a lap, but I don't think anybody stayed out that time. Looks like 23 laps, the furthest they can go, so one more pit stop in the future of these drivers. And look at these guys coming off pit road, 3 wide. McIntyre, Dollerton, and Thibodeaux, they got to settle that thing out, as it's really only one lane coming off of pit road. Where's our race lead battle? This might be it right here. Patrick Smith might be the race leader. Baker behind him in 2nd, Almariego 3rd, then Carson Gum and Zach Rogers 4th and 5th. I think that's how they're going to cycle around. So how about Patrick Smith? Rookie last season. Had a win last year as a rookie, but it was during the playoffs, and so therefore it did not count towards him making it into the playoff grid. His teammate Ryan Butcher already has a victory this season back at Las Vegas, so trying to see if maybe they can get both of the Auto Junction Racing Camrys into the playoffs, and 2nd place is where they've got Patrick Smith scored right now, because Jessica Shelton in the 0-2, who remember had that unscheduled pit stop, she's got a couple laps more fuel than everybody else, so she's going to get a bonus point for a lap led. And depending on how this race turns out, did Jessica Shelton, with the hard luck there early on in this race, did things just kind of turn a complete 180, and is she the driver that maybe could be able to make it the furthest of anybody else? I gotta do some calculations here. If she can make it to lap 30, she might be able to make it the rest of the way. Let's see how long she stays out. And it looks like she's got to pit road this time. So no, I think she's still going to have to make another pit stop before this race is over. But, well, that would have been interesting. Smith still the leader now, or is going to be the leader now, with Shelton coming to pit road. Battle's going to be for second place. That's going to be Vince Almariego, Cole Baker, Zach Rogers, Jesse Turner, and Carson Gum. That's going to be second through sixth. Austin LaPlante will be 7th. Ryan Acosta in 8th. Benny Watson in 9th. And right now, William Brock trying to hold off Dylan Young for the 10th position. So if we look here at these drivers now, up towards the front, and the question is, was staying out the longest, was coming to pit road the soonest, which was the strategy that worked out the best? It looks like in the case of Patrick Smith, that it would be staying out the longest. That is the strategy to go with. In terms of gaining track position, still one more pit stop for these drivers, though, as Vince Almariego gets around the slower lap machine of Kyle Mathews. There's Shelton coming back onto the racetrack. Seemed like somewhat extended stay again there for the 0-2, though. As now she'll try and get around her S3 Motorsports teammate Kyle Mathews. I don't know if this is necessarily a battle for position between the two. We'll see in just a moment. I think Shelton, oh yeah, it is. Kyle Mathews making a pass there for 41st on Shelton. But Shelton doesn't appear to have damage, and she's got the fresher tires now, as they got wadded up behind her 3 wide with Jesse Turner, Carson Gum, and Cole Baker. And Jesse Turner had to be the one to back out of the situation. Ooh, got loose down the back stretch with those bumps and almost got up into Benny Watson. So Turner, who was 4th, crossing the line last time, is going to drop back to the 9th spot. Zach Rogers goes around the outside of Jessica Shelton. And now we'll look to the inside of Kyle Mathews. Not quite going to be able to make the pass there. Let's see if he can do it down here in 3 and 4. You can see right there that Kyle Mathews, the thing that's really hindering him the most with that damage is his straightaway speed. As there was about maybe 4 or 5 miles per hour difference between the 6 and the 0-9. Carson Gum's going to move by as well. 4th place, and then 5th place Ryan Acosta. Following in the tire tracks, he'll make his way around the wounded 0-9. Patrick Smith is pulled away. Vince Almariego, by his lonesome now in 2nd place. We'll do a little bit of lap comparison between those two and see who's got the faster car currently. Last time by, it was Patrick Smith by about a 10th. This time by, Patrick Smith clocks in with a 31.668, 31.804 for Vince Almariego. So that time, about a 10th and a half advantage to the 77. Patrick Smith comes into this race 35th in the point standings, only 2 top 10s on the year. Average finishing position of 25th. And 35th in points is basically next to last in the standings for the 36 drivers that have charters this season. So this could be a huge turnaround in the year for the second entry out of Auto Junction Racing. Vince Almariego last season, of course, picked up his first career win. And now looking to get his second. Almariego, another driver struggling in points, 26th. And we already mentioned coming off that dead last finish last week at Chicago Motor Speedway. Battle for 3rd. Carson Gum trying to get to the inside of Zach Rogers. Pulls alongside him coming off of turn 4. Let's see if he can stay there. Heading into turn 1. Saw the inside line actually works, it seems, here at New Hampshire. And we rode it up the track a little bit there, did Carson Gum. Not sure if he'll be able to get the advantage off this corner or not. Ryan Acosta waiting to see which line opens up. He'll jump up to the outside with fellow challenger. Try and see if he can swing around the outside of Carson Gum for 4th place. Trying to pin the 19 down the bottom. Camry's battle behind them for 6th place. Cole Baker to the inside of Benny Watson. One thing we did not talk about coming into this race that really we should have under pacing, but we'll do it now, is the points. The points are really close. We've got 4 former winners up inside of the top 4. Adam Garcia, the points leader. Mitchell Collins, 6 points back in second. Nathan Ormond, last week's winner, jumped up to third. He's 9 points out. And Jordan Lopes, who won 2 weeks ago at Kansas, he's fourth, 10 points back. Highest driver in the point standings without a win would be Jack Mitchell. He's fifth in the standings, only 14 points out of the points lead. Then J Millz, Dylan Young, Carson Gum, Jesse Turner, and Cole Deaver, the top 10. 7 of the top 10, all former winners this season. The 3 that have not found victory lane, they're up in the top 10. Mitchell, Dylan Young, or Mitchell, Carson Gum, I should say, and J Millz. Those cars bouncing down the back straightaway there as R Acosta still trying to get around the outside of Carson Gum. Now Gum's got Benny Watson behind him on the inside line. And Cole Baker joins the fray. Dylan Young about to as well. So about 5 drivers about to battle for spots up inside of the top 5. So right now, nearly 2.3 seconds between Patrick Smith and Vince Almariego. Still, the advantage speed-wise going to Patrick Smith, although it's now gone down to the hundredths that he has been better than Almariego rather than the tenths that we saw about 10 laps ago. If my projections are correct, it'll be about 10 laps from now that everybody's going to have to consider making that final pit stop. If they so chose, they'd be able to come to pit road in the next 3 laps and make it the rest of the way. So who would do the short pit strategy and who's going to stretch it out as far as they possibly can, as R Acosta will take the 4th position away from the 19 of Carson Gum. Benny Watson tried to drive it in deep there for 5th place. Couldn't do it. Checks him up. And now Dylan Young on his back bumper for 6th. Dylan Young getting around Cole Baker for 7th. Jesse Turner and Austin LaPlante, the 47 and the 48, numerically in order on the racetrack. It's 9th and 10th place, and then LaPlante's teammate William Brock trying to take the 10th position away from him as he'll dive to the inside going into turn 3. Right now, I believe everybody is still in this race. We're going to double check on that. 40 cars on the lead lap. Phil Parker, the last of those. Shelton, 1 lap down. Kyle Mathews currently 2 laps down in 41st and 42nd. Certainly not the run those 2 S3 Motorsports cars were looking for. Matter of fact, I really haven't seen any of the S3 Motorsports cars up at the front at all. Cole Deaver right now is the highest of those in 17th place. And I think the caution out? I think the caution may be out. It is. That changes up everything. Everybody's going to be able to come to pit road, and they're all going to be good to make it on fuel. I think these race leaders had not yet taken the caution. The drivers I saw back there, Jack Mitchell and Cole Deaver, they had. And who did this caution come out for is the question. It was Cody Llamas, who I believe was running in the top 15 at the time. And the Florida Panthers Ford Mustang, a lot of front end damage. It's going to put us under the caution here for the 2nd time today. And it looks like it was an incident right on the front straightaway. Those skid marks there on the left side of the screen, I believe, belong to the 84. Let's go back and see what happened. It's going to set us up for a shootout here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We're going to focus on the 84 of Cody Llamas, but watch the group ahead of him. William Brock and Austin LaPlante side by side for the 10th position at the time, and watch Jessica Shelton in the 02. I don't know if she makes some contact perhaps with the 48. Yeah, right there. Gets him in the left rear quarter panel. And it's actually LaPlante that's going to spin down and hit that inside wall. I thought it was Cody. And then LaPlante's going to come back up into your screen, and there's going to be nowhere for the 84 car to go. 2 inverted numbers, the 84 and the 48. A couple of Johnson fans getting together there. And both were running up high in the running order. LaPlante was in 10th. Cody Llamas was in 13th. And both of them sustaining damage. Austin LaPlante, the defending winner of this race, obviously will not be able to defend that title, I don't think. Whoa! Close call there for both J Qualls and Mitchell Collins, who were on the outside line going into turn 1. As Qualls nearly got into the back of that 84 machine. But caution out for the 2nd time tonight. Everybody will be on pit road. We'll see how it's all going to shuffle up the running order potentially on what could be the money stop and set us up for what's going to be a green flag start around maybe 10 to go to finish out this one here today at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And indeed, it was a money stop, and it was the 47 team that was on it, as Jesse Turner is going to be the new race leader. Zach Rogers in second. Patrick Smith, who was the leader under that caution, he's going to be back in third. Vince Almariego in fourth, and fifth will be Cole Baker. Sixth, Dylan Young. Seventh, Benny Watson. Trey Wright will be eighth. Ninth, William Brock. And for the first time today, Keith Batson's Mustang is going to crack the top 10. Lights out atop the pace car. We're going to go further down the running order here, as it's going to be 10 laps to go to finish out today's race. 11th will be Carson Gum. 12th, Cole Deaver. Jack Mitchell, 13th. 14th, Ryan Acosta. Matthew Rodriguez in 15th. James Qualls, 16th. 17th will be Charles Sandfer. 18th, Mitchell Collins. 19th will be Ryan Butcher. And the highest running of the non-charter drivers right now, our winner from the non-charter event earlier on today, N Amoedo. Jordan Lopez, 21st. 22nd, Ryan Brommer. 23rd will be Adam Garcia. 24th, Matt Haas. 25th, Michael Norman. Austin LaPlante will be back in 26th with that damage. They repaired it a bit. 27th, Charles Belding. Chris Dollerton, 28th. 29th, J Millz. Levi McIntyre, former winner here, mired back in 30th. 31st, Quentin Moore. 32nd, Harrison Ponder. Nathan Ormond, last week's winner, is 33rd. Carson Friesen in 34th. 35th, Dylan Poteet. Johnny Gardner, 36th. 37th, Phil Parker. Jacob Thibodeaux in 38th. Dylan Schwallenberg, last car on the lead lap in 39th. K Mathews, a lap down. He's going to be ahead of the race leader on this restart, so things will get wadded up there. J Shelton also a lap down in 40th. And right now, the only car out of the race, Cody Llamas, will finish 42nd. The green flag gets in the air. 10 laps to go. And it's going to be Patrick Smith jumping to the inside of Zach Rogers. That's going to be the highest battle for second place. K Mathews pulling away. Ooh, Baker, I think, may have gotten the wall there. Going into turn 3. That scrubbed off a lot of speed. And Turner's coming to pit road. Oh, no, there might have been a mistake made on that 47. He gained so many spots on pit road. Did they not get that thing full of fuel? Oh, man. Tough break there for the two-time winner. That now gives the race lead to the pole sitter, Zach Rogers. Rogers trying to go coast to coast. Patrick Smith there, going to look to the inside, drives it deep into the corner. Rogers gets back into the throttle as well. The two of them going to be alongside each other, and don't look now. Here comes Dylan Young in the 2 car. He's maybe had the best car in fighting his way through traffic. Crack the top 10, crack the top 5, and now about to crack the podium. As Turner coming off pit road, good thing he's got those 2 wins in the bank, otherwise that could have been very detrimental for him and his potential postseason, as Smith trying to clear Zach Rogers, couldn't quite do it. How about here in 3 and 4? Rogers lifts, drives it deep back alongside. Smith might have him cleared off of turn 4. Rogers tries to battle back. 77, gonna go back to the race lead. 7 laps to go here at New Hampshire. Does Zach Rogers have anything to get back to the 77? Dylan Young now hounding him for 3rd as he's side by side. Right, that for 2nd rather, as he was side by side with Vince Almariego. Now he lost a ton of momentum through 1 and 2. Almariego will take the 3rd spot. Patrick Smith in that GameStop Toyota Camry. The Call of Duty Modern Warfare entry out of Auto Junction Racing. 6 laps away from what would be his 2nd career victory, but the first that could potentially put him into his playoffs debut. And K Mathews in that 09 has been able to keep himself ahead of the race leaders. We saw just how off the pace he was earlier. Apparently the repairs they made there under that caution period really helped him to be at least somewhat up to speed. So I guess I'm assuming he's not going to be that much of a roadblock here for Patrick Smith. Well, look at the lap times here and see if Smith would be closing in. 32.1 to a 31.7. Oh yeah, Patrick Smith might actually catch that 09. And if he does get held up behind him, that still is going to give Zach Rogers, Vince Almariego, and Dylan Young a chance at this thing. It's a question of if and when Patrick Smith catches the 09. Can't recall off the top of my head exactly where it was that Patrick Smith won last season. but I know that it was during the latter portion of the year, and so obviously he wasn't able to pick up a playoff position with that victory, but that could all change here today. Second full-time season in the Duracell Cup Series, and almost 3.5 laps away from capturing his second career win and first of Season 4. Rogers right now about 0.7 of a second behind Patrick Smith, and he's got to close that up a bit here, because if Smith's going to get held up behind K Mathews and have some issues, Rogers wants to be close enough to be able to pounce. V Almariego's right there as well with Dylan Young, as now Patrick Smith dives to the inside on K Mathews. Let's see if Zach Rogers can be able to utilize this to get back up to the 77, who tries to edge ahead off of turn 2, not quite going to be able to do it. K Mathews is slower, but not that much slower, so he might actually hold up this 77 just a little bit. Look at there, the gap visibly closing between Patrick Smith and Zach Rogers. Smith wants to make as quick work of K Mathews as he can and leave Zach Rogers to have to battle with the 0-9. Dylan Young back there going to go for the 4th position, make that 3rd on V Almariego, and Smith will clear K Mathews. Smith will clear the 0-9 with 1.5 laps to go, and that may have just sealed the deal. Zach Rogers has now a lap machine between himself and Patrick Smith, and Smith only has 6 more corners to go before he will pick up this victory. Would love to know what the penalty was there, or what the issue was for Jesse Turner. It was looking like he could very well have won this race and become the first 3-time winner on the season. White flag you saw displayed for the 77. It's just a small 2-car team at Auto Junction Racing. But earlier on this year at Las Vegas, Ryan Butcher picked up the victory, and it looks like they are going to go for the sweep with both of their drivers, as Patrick Smith's going to drive it into 3 and 4. Lap car between himself and Zach Rogers. Just has to maneuver it out of turn 4. Punches the throttle and heads for home. The Lennox Industrial Tools 301 at New Hampshire belongs to Patrick Smith. Career win number 2. And they nearly wrecked back there with Johnny Gardner and Levi McIntyre coming back to the start-finish line. So now the goal is clear for the 77 team. They've got themselves a victory. That victory could put them into one of the 16 spots in the playoffs, but they came into this race 35th in points, so the consistency has to happen for Patrick Smith now to get him at least up into the top 30 in points, if not higher, because as I said, I think it's going to come down to drivers with wins and up highest in the point standings to get those playoff spots. What with now Chris Dollerton moving into a playoff position, and the fact that we know that usually in a season we end up having more than 16 different race winners. But the first step has been taken for Patrick Smith, as he'll pick up the victory here today. Zach Rogers almost went coast to coast, started on the pole, finished second. Great points day for him. As I said, that 6 team has gotten it turned around. I would not be surprised to see him go to victory lane in the next couple of weeks, maybe try and put himself in the running for a playoff spot. Remember, Zach Rogers has been in the Final 4 for the last 2 seasons. V Almariego with a great run of 3rd, combating the dead last finish he had last week. Dylan Young going to finish in 4th. That 2 team's been on a little bit of a skid, so they got that turned around. And Cole Baker, great run there as well for him in the 5th position. Benny Watson will finish in 6th. 7th for T Wright. William Brock in 8th. 9th for Keith Batson. And Carson Gum is going to complete the top 20. Then it was Deaver, Qualls, Mitchell, Lopes, and Rodriguez, the top 15. One driver conspicuously missing from up at the top of the the running order is Adam Garcia. He finished in 20th. The driver that he was 6 points ahead of for the points lead, Mitchell Collins, he didn't finish much better. He finished in 17th. I think that Garcia still has the points lead over him. However, I think Jack Mitchell will definitely be in the running for the points lead as well with his performance here today. And last week's winner, N Ormond, finished 25th. So it's going to be really close, I think, between the 23, the 22, and the 0-1 heading into the Chili Bowl next week as to who's going to be the points leader heading into that and who's going to be the points leader leaving that as well. 38 drivers finished on the lead lap here today. Dylan Schwallenberg, the last of those. Chris Dollerton in 30th with his 9th start of the season, and he will make his 10th next week at the Chili Bowl, so we know he is locked into a playoff spot with his Manassas win as an uncharted driver near the beginning of the season. 3 drivers finished off the lead lap. Jessica Shelton, her day started poorly from the get-go. unscheduled pit stop back in the beginning stages of this race. Never was able to come back from that. Did lead a lap, so she got that bonus point. Jesse Turner, tough break there as he was the leader on the last restart, but had to come down pit road on that last green flag run. And K Mathews, after getting some left side damage early on, never able to battle back from that, finished 2 laps down in 41st. And then J Llamas, who was involved in the last caution of the day, the second caution of the day, only driver out of the race, finishing in 42nd place. Cody came into this race in the 19th position in points, so this will undoubtedly drop him at least out of the top 20 in the standings heading into next week. Well, next week we go to the Chili Bowl. Now, last season we ended up having 2 races in which Northeast Motorsports swept the both of them, Austin LaPlante and Jacob Thibodeaux, respectively going to victory lane for the second time in their season. But next week, we're going to have a lot of stuff going on for the Chili Bowl, as we're going to be having some qualifying races, we're going to be having some main event races, and there's also a little bit of a special bonus for drivers as well that could play a factor into the playoffs themselves. You're going to want to tune in for that one, as it's all going to be race number 20 on the season, and it's going to be a good one under the lights at the dirt-covered short track. But congratulations to Patrick Smith. First win of the season, second win of his career, and potentially could be making his first appearance in the postseason and battling in the playoffs in the chase for the championship. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from New Hampshire. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finger results, and these are your point standings heading into the Chili Bowl next week, as you've been watching a production of NNSCRA, all flying racing at its best.